Well, welcome to the group. What we're going to look at tonight is creating memories, because memories are just so important for people living with dementia and understanding their life story. Those of you that have been on these webinars before with me will know that I repeatedly say the more we know and understand about a person living with dementia, that better we can connect with them, the more positive social interactions that we can have with them, so they don't become socially isolated and withdrawn. And I at the weekend I went to visit my husband's aunt. She's 94 and she's in a home living with dementia. And my father-in-law has been getting increasingly more frustrated with her because she keeps saying the same thing over again, keeps asking the same question over again. And so I said to him, just go with her. Doesn't matter how many times she asks you, just answer it. And my husband and I went to see her and we had a lovely conversation with her. And we were talking about her dogs, and we were talking about when she had the hotel. And then she'd say, how long are you down here for? And we're saying, we're on our way home now, Auntie Jill. Oh, okay. You'll stop for your dogs, won't you? I said, yeah, we'll stop for the dogs, Auntie Jill. And then we talk a bit more about her typing and all this. And she, and how long are you going to be here for? And it was lovely for us, but it made me recognise I need to do some support with my father-in-law, to do some training with him to help him understand, just to go with her. And he knows a lot more about her that he could bring into the conversation that will reduce the amount of times that she asks the same question again. And I know something you've experienced, Bill, haven't you? With
Well,
is it
you
with your
say that, and I went to see my dad at the weekend, and
yeah,
he always talks to me about living in Rhode Island, where he grew up in the States, and
yeah.
digging clams when he was 19 and playing golf. And one of my sons come to visit him on Sunday, and we were sitting chatting, and I said to him, do you remember when you used to dig clams? How many clams did you need to get to make a good clam chowder? And he said to me, you silly sod, I'm not in the States anymore, I'm back home in the UK. And it's like, you can't win, can you? It's just
No.
whatever way you try and do it, they'll turn it on your head. But there you go.
Oh, that's brilliant. So what I wanted to do tonight was a little presentation on about creating memories. Um, and I think this could be a little bit emotional for some of you. Writing it and researching what to show you, I found quite emotional myself. So it does start off with a lady singing, and I'd like you to think about the words, because life story work for us, knowing people's lives, helps us really see the person that you know, the person that's been in your lives for umpteen many years. It's life story work gives us that little doorway into that person's memories, their life stories. Okay, so we're going to be looking at creating memories, and I wanted to really start with showing you this short clip. And I don't know if you call it dramatization, but it's about remembering me, the importance of remembering people, who they were and who they are now. Because somebody living with dementia, their personalities might change depending on what part of their brain's been affected by the dementia. And it's something that relatives can sometimes find really distressing, that change in personality. And sometimes we have to learn to love somebody in a different way, that they're still the same person, but this terrible disease has just changed them, and it isn't their fault. So this is about remembering the person, that never to be forgotten. You got sound now?
Yes.
Yes.
I need someone to hold on for me, to what I can't seem to hold on to. The life we used to live is slipping through my fingertips like a thread that's unraveling. I suppose that nothing lasts forever, and everything is lost in its time. When I can't find
Oh, sorry.
the words that I'm trying to speak, when I don't know the face in the mirror I see, when I feel I'm forgotten and lost in this world, won't you please remember me? Remember me. I know there'll come a day when I have gone away and the memory of me will fade. But darling, think of me and who I used to be, and I'll be right there with you again. I hope I'm one thing worth not forgetting. Tell me that you'll never let me go. When I can't find the words that I'm trying to speak, when I don't know the face in the mirror I see, when I feel I'm forgotten and lost in this world, won't you please remember me? Remember me. Remember me. Remember me. I hope I'm one thing worth not forgetting. Tell me that you'll never let me go. When I can't find the words that I'm trying to speak, when I don't know the face in the mirror I see, when I feel like I'm lost and alone in this world, won't you please remember me?
Okay. What was your thoughts watching that?
That's
Can I
cheered
ask-
me up.
Can I ask
Yeah.
a question, please, Anne-Marie?
It's very
Of course you
powerful.
can, Linda.
Is that saying that that person understands that they're not saying what they want to say and they're not recognising things? I never know if mother knows that she's talking things that don't make sense, and if she's asking questions to which she won't get the answer she's looking for. I never know whether that's she's understanding she's doing that, or she's just doing that because she's not in a happy place or whatever. I can never quite know how to answer things because I'm not sure what she knows about what she's saying. I know what I'm trying to say, but it's so
I know.
confusing. I tried to write it in my question, but I'm not sure I got it right.
Oh, bless you. Well, Linda, people living with dementia also have a condition called anosognosia. And basically, that means they don't know that they don't know. They're forgotten that they're forgotten. So people with dementia, whatever your mother is saying to you, she knows what she's saying. You're the one that has to be the detective to try and work out what she's saying. And by knowing her and her life story and her experiences and her preferences, you can start unpicking what she's trying to say. So what I guide people in doing is go along with your mother. Pick out key words. I was with a gentleman a couple of so weeks ago, and he was talking very muddly, but he was very intent. He is having this conversation with me and telling me something. He knew exactly what he was saying. It made sense to him what he was saying. It didn't make sense to me. But we were looking out the window and he was pointing and then said the word moving. And I said, "Oh, you moved all that garden furniture, did you?" He's going, "Yes, yes." And I said, "That must have been really heavy." "Yes, yes." And he was like doing movements as if showing me what he was doing. So it's just that picking out of trying to think what is the person trying to say. People with dementia are not children, they're not babies by no matter of means. But you know when sometimes you've got two toddlers that have not quite mastered speech, but they're sitting opposite each other, talking what sounds like a load of gobbledygook, but they know what they're talking about. They're laughing, and so they know what they're saying. And same with people with dementia, they know exactly what they're saying.
Can I ask you a question? You mentioned earlier a dictionary.
Yes.
Does that imply that there are words which not everybody, but are generally used by people that are suffering from dementia? Because how can you have a dictionary if there's no common relationship between the words?
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with words, John, the dictionary.
It's not.
It's about interpreting what the person might be trying to say. For example, one of the things that one of the points that somebody was saying was about their father keeps taking his clothes off in public areas within the home, the community, the care home. And looking at the person's life story and the person himself, he originally lived in a South American country, very hot and humid. So at home, he'd take his clothes off in the privacy of his own home. And so he thought he could still do that. He thought, we wanted him to feel at home. So he felt at home, so he was taking his clothes off. And so we got him some very light cotton trousers and shirts. And with repeated reminding, he learned that he could take his clothes off in his bedroom, but not in communal areas. It's working out, why is that person doing what they're doing? And going back to Linda, can you give me an example of maybe what your mum is saying?
Yeah, it's awful. I don't want to upset people, but like today, for instance, she was exceedingly agitated when I arrived. And she was in the communal area, and she was doing all of her awful habits of banging and spitting and shouting and all that sort of thing. She couldn't control it. And all she really wanted to do, she was saying to me, "Can I take her home? She wants to go home. She doesn't want to stay here. She wants to see her mother." And what I worry about is, why can't you take me home? Why won't you take me home? Why don't you? And sometimes she's quite accusing of me, as if I'm making her stay there. And what upsets me is I've always done absolutely everything for mum all her life, and now she thinks I'm doing this awful thing to her. But does she really think that? You say she knows what she's saying when she says it. So does she really believe these things when she's actually saying it? That's what worries me.
Yeah.
And that she's really unhappy.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things that we can do to help her.
If you want to take this, sorry, Anne-Marie, if you want to take this separately with me some other time, if it's disturbing other people, that's fine.
Yeah, no, because we all learn from each other, Linda.
Okay.
And I'm sure somebody else thinking, oh yeah, one of the very, very common things is people want to go home.
Yes, yeah.
They want to go home. And usually when they're saying I want to go home, it's saying that I don't feel that I belong here.
Yes.
I don't feel at home. I don't feel like we do when you go in your front door, you think, oh yeah, I'm home. It looks like home, it smells like home. Yeah. So sometimes we may need to do more work on the bedroom environment to make it feel more homely, more recognizable, with items, pictures that a person can relate to. It could be that we put a bedspread, a particular lamp that they had. It could be that spray of a perfume in the room to help. So you're looking at all the different senses.
Yeah.
And then it's usually diverting somebody's attention, diverting them to something that they really, really like doing, or they like talking about. For example, with Auntie Jill, she loved talking about her two German Shepherds. And she loved talking about when she was typing. She was really proud that she'd broken some typewriter because it couldn't be broken, but she was so fast that the keys jammed up. So if she ever got sort of upset, we said to the team in the home, talk to her about the typing. Talk to her about her two dogs. And I can't remember the name of the dogs now, but talk to her about that. With my aunt, if my aunt got a bit upset and restless when she was living in a home with dementia, I said to the team, get her royal family books out.
Yes.
Talk to her about her the royal family. And she will be so happy saying, I worked on that dress, I worked on that dress. But never, ever say, your mum's dead. Your mum has died.
No.
We used to do that though, Linda, in the past, back in the 80s. That's what I was trained to do. We don't say that. Well, you could say, Mum, tell me about Nana then.
Yeah.
What was she like? Was she like you? And then just start drawing on that reminiscence and to something that she likes. What we've done, and it's worked really well, is music therapy, playing somebody their favourite music. And sometimes we've used noise counselling over the ear headphones that have those little SD cards that are preloaded with the person's favourite music. And we pop that on while their relative's still with them, and then the relative gives them a kiss. I'll see you later. But now they're more interested in their music.
Okay.
But Linda, if you want to stay behind at the end and we chat more, I'm happy to do so. Or if you wanted to contact me anytime.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Anne-Marie.
Yeah. What home is your mum in, Linda?
She's in Cambridge, St George's.
Oh, St George's.
Yeah.
Did we briefly meet a couple of weeks ago?
No, we didn't. I couldn't make it the day you were in.
Oh, that's...
Yes. Yeah.
Okie dokie. Well, we can sort that out again, Linda. It's no problem.
Thank you.
No worries. So the picture I have here is of memory boxes. These are memory boxes that some of the people living in our homes have made. And they are a great tool for somebody to be able to rummage through. It's an activity. Most of them are shoe boxes, and it becomes an activity of all the people decorating their own memory boxes. And inside would be things that are meaningful to them. So if it's my memory box, in fact, I was doing my own a week or two ago, I'd have one of my army berries in, a nursing badge, something to do with dash hounds, something to do with fishing. What else did I put in there? A wedding photo, picture of me and my brother when we were young, all sort of things that are meaningful to me that I could look through and think, oh yeah. Or team members could use to think, I'll talk to Anne-Marie about a ginger cat or a dash hounds or fishing. And they can be used as a group activity, people sitting together talking about their different life stories, showing what they've got in their boxes. And they are such a useful tool. But what is really important to remember is that memories continue while somebody's in the care home. We really work hard within the homes, bringing lots of different experiences for people in the homes, different activities. And we show off what people have done. We put up on the wall things that people have made, and then there are things that can go into people's memory boxes. And I said to the teams, take photos, and then the photos can go in the memory box, and when families come in and visit, they can see what their loved one's been doing. Because so many times I've seen families come in and say, what have you been doing, Mum? Nothing. I haven't done nothing. And because they don't always remember. But again, this is a talking point for when you guys come in and visit. And people are proud of what they've made and achieved. And some people have never done art or crafts before. Some of our residents go out swimming, or to the local farms, or feeding lambs, and having zoos visit the home. They're all things that give people that sense of achievement and well-being in their lives. The interactive table, the lady on the right using, they used to do games and colouring, quizzes, and also can play music and YouTube videos. So, and that's really great for people. So we're continually looking at ways to enhance the well-being of people's lives. And as I keep saying, the more we know about someone, the more that we can connect with them. Now, this piece of film is of a lady called Naomi Files. Now, Naomi grew up in an American care home that her parents owned. So her life has been around elderly people. And she used to sit, as a little girl, sit on their beds and talk to them. And she learned about people's life stories and the importance of talking to people about their life stories. And she founded what we call validation therapy. And it's about recognizing people's feelings. Now, people can feel, I'll give you, I think some of you have heard this story before, but there was a gentleman in one of our homes, and we didn't know a lot about him, and the carers said that the families sort of really didn't tell them much, even when they asked. And when I said to them, but when you ask people about their loved one and their memories, it could be quite hard because it makes them face up to how much of that person they've lost to the dementia, how much the dementia has stolen away from them. I said, and so sometimes you know, it's just about building that relationship with families and taking little steps to find out information. But this man was becoming particularly unsettled and distressed while he was in the home. And I had to chat with the daughter. She came in the day I was visiting, and I explained the importance of life stories. And the more we know about somebody, the more we can build on a therapeutic friendship with a person. And I asked her if there was anything that would upset him that we needed to know about. any emotional memory that would cause him distress? And she said, no, not that I can think of. No, she said. So we carried on. We talked about his work and his hobbies. And I said, oh, have you got any brothers or sisters? And she said, oh, I had 3 brothers. I've only got 2 now. And I've got 1 sister. So I said, oh, do you mind me asking what happened to your brother? So she said he drowned when he was 9 and we never found his body. And when I explained, gave that information over to the care team, they said, now it makes sense. Because every time they've tried to bath him or shower him, he got so distressed. And so he never had a bath or shower after that. We changed his care plan because obviously volumes of water took him back to that distressing time of his life. And so by not having baths or showers, he didn't become distressed. And, he used to have a full body wash every day. But knowing people's life stories, we could take them to a happy place. When was he happy? He was happy when he was on his motorbike touring Scotland and France. They could divert to the happy place. So I'm going to show you this little bit of film because people with dementia are still there. They're never lost. They are always there. We just sometimes have to find that key, the key to get us across that bridge into their world. So we're never trying to bring people with dementia into our world. We move into their world. And by learning their life story, we will be able to recognise what part of their world are they living in. Are they living in the world where they're still going to work, or they're bringing up their children and believe their children are still at school? Where are they? Where are they in their world? So this is Naomi using validation therapy. So she's recognizing the feelings that Gladys is experiencing. As people's dementia progresses, their world becomes closer and closer and closer to them. If it's not within arm's reach, it's not there, it doesn't exist. Their world is here. So that's why sometimes you need to be very close to somebody. As the person's dementia progresses, the brain can't cope with all the information it's being given. So it would take away the person's peripheral vision. They can only see in front of them. And as the dementia progresses even further, it will take away one eye. So the person is only seeing out of one eye and in front of them. And sometimes, unfortunately, some people develop a condition called Charles Bonnet syndrome, where they become very partially sighted and experience quite horrible hallucinations. Now, Naomi knows for Gladys sitting on her own, tapping, can feel quite lonesome. And Naomi knows that for Gladys, going to church on a Sunday and her church music was very, very important to her. So Naomi uses the church music as a means of connecting with Gladys. And Gladys is using repetitive movement as a means of communication. And you will see how Naomi starts singing at the same sort of pace and volume of Gladys's tapping. Okay, so we'll watch this and then we can have a chat about it afterwards. Is everybody okay? Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Okie dokie.
Yep.
When people are very old and deteriorated and no one enters their world and they're just sitting there, they will withdraw inward more and more. And their desperate need for connection is all now inside. And if a person is all alone, even if they're very, very deteriorated, there's a longing for this kind of closeness. Mrs. Wilson? Hello. You want me to sit? Can you see me good? Gladys Wilson is a wonderful example of a person who is in the phase of repetitive motion, where people use movements, repetitive movements, because they don't have any more speech or very little speech, but they have human needs that need to be expressed. You're crying. You're crying. You have a tear right here in your face. You have a little pain. You want me to touch you. You're very sad. Can you see me? Is it scary? Are you afraid? And if this person sits with their eyes closed, rocking back and forth, and maybe there's a tear coming down, there's a need there. There's a little tear that's coming out. You feel it? You feel a little tear? If you gently use touch, and I touched Gladys Wilson for the fingertips right here on the cheek, is where the mother usually touches a child. If you touch an infant there, it looks up, and every cell remembers where it was touched by the mother. And often that person knows, even if they can't say a word at that moment, they won't talk, or they don't want to talk, but there's a communication, and that person is no longer alone. Can you let me in a little bit? You think? Just a little? You think I could be with you and Jesus for a minute? Jesus loves me, yes, I know, for the Bible tells me so. I used music, because when speech is gone, music, especially with Gladys Wilson, it was religious music, because there's emotion tied to it and safety tied to it. So I used her old church songs. Jesus loves me, yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me, the Bible tells me so. What I did was, when she moved, I moved with her. And when I was singing, because she didn't sing with me, so I matched the intensity of my voice to the intensity of her movement. And pretty soon, for a split second, we became one person. Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so. So at one point, when she got very quiet and very peaceful, and my voice became very quiet as hers and very peaceful, and my breathing slowed to her breathing, she pulled me to her, and I moved with her. And for her at that moment, I believe I was a symbol of her mom. Can you open your eyes now? Do you see me? Feel safe and warm? Yes? Can you sing with me? He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 He's got the mothers and the fathers. He's got the mothers and the fathers in his hands. He's got the mothers and the fathers in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. The breakthrough doesn't happen every time. A person will not always open their eyes and look at you. But if you keep trying and you keep centering yourself and really look at that person and really mirror their movements, maybe not this time, but the next time you come, you'll have a communication. You feel safe? Yeah. With Jesus? Yeah. And me?
How you all feeling watching that?
Very moving.
Yeah.
Very moving. Lovely.
And Gladys hadn't spoken for about 18 months up until that point.
Wow. Incredible.
So it really is about getting to know the person. And if I went into a care home, I could connect to a person to a certain degree, but not as much as if I knew about them. So it's just so important that we do get to know the people, and what you know about somebody, you know, that you can use that, their life experiences. You know, my brother and I mean, we've lost our mum and dad, but we're forever talking about funny things and funny words and do you remember? And it really is important to us, and it's almost like a healing for us. And to us, we're keeping that our parents' memory alive, and that feeling that they're still with us. And I think, you know, when you're visiting your loved ones, if you can find those things that can make you laugh with them, it helps. It really does help. And it is about going with the flow, really. You know, not trying to bring that person to the here and now. Is that they've got this terrible disease, this terrible condition that makes them forget, but the long-term memory, the long-term feelings are still there. It's just finding that way to tap into them, and you're the best people to be able to do that. And I know it could be frustrating. I know I've got to do some work with my father-in-law because he's getting frustrated with his sister. And it was quite interesting driving to the home. My husband went really, really quiet, which usually tells me that there's something wrong. And I said to him, Donnie, what's the matter? He said, I'm just anxious. He said, I feel like my throat and chest is really tight. I went, why? What are you anxious about? He said, what will I do if I get there and Auntie Jill doesn't recognise me? I said, then think of something that you can talk to her about to help her to remember you. Things that you did with her when she had the hotel. But as luck has had it, she recognised him. And that was good. And they talked about when he was a little boy and when he was in the Navy and, you know, things like that. And when Uncle Teddy had his boat. And the conversation was kept going for quite a long time before she started asking about, you know, are you here to stay? Are you here tonight? So, yeah, it's find it and take things, use things as prompts, as conversation starters. It could be an ornament, it could be a picture, it could be a piece of music, anything that you know that you could talk to your loved one about that's going to distract them away from any negative feelings and negative memories. I'd like to just finish now, and then we can have a good old chat afterwards. But I'd just like to finish now with another emotional song, which a guy's written for his grandfather. So we'll pop this on, then we'll have a chat.
They say the time will come when my world will start to dim. The memories I made will no longer stay with me. They say the time will come when my mind no longer thrives, and the thoughts of all I love will fade away. Oh, but this moment I share with you is all that's real to me now. It'll help me carry on for the rest of my days. Oh, when the last of me is gone, take comfort in the still. What my mind may not remember, my heart always will. Oh, and when words no longer work and frustration fills my eyes, your touch will be enough to calm my soul. I am grateful for my life and the love you've given me. It's you who makes my world, and for now that's all I need. Oh, and the love I have for you will never fade away. If I can't say it then, well, I want you to know now. Oh, when the last of me is gone, take comfort in the still. What my mind may not remember, my heart always will. Oh, when the last of me is gone, take comfort in the still. What my mind may not remember, my heart always will.
And that is so, so true, that we need to remember that people with dementia may forget names, they may forget places, but they never, ever forget the love they have for us. They keep their feelings. That's something dementia can never, ever take away, is feelings. It's the one thing that dementia can't take away. And I don't apologise for just popping this up in support of the Alzheimer's Society. £2.50 packets of forget-me-not seeds. So not only good a symbol for the Alzheimer's Society, but also for bees. Okay. Any questions or anything anyone would like to talk about?
Yes, how about if I can't communicate anymore? He can speak odd words, but not a lot of them make sense.
People with dementia never lose the ability to communicate. They just may communicate differently. Okay. Even up to the point of dying, somebody can still communicate by facial expression, by their eyes, by touch. So it's about learning their language. What is it that they're trying to say? There was a lady that when she started rolling up the bottom of her skirt, the team members knew she wanted to go to the toilet. They'd worked that out. My nan, if she, it depended what mood she was in. If she was being ladylike, she'd be going to visit her aunt. If she was being naughty, she was going to strain her greens. And that's what she used to say when she was going to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
So if she'd been a resident in a home, we'd have to put that in her care plan, in her communication and her continence care plan. So it's things that are particular to that person. And as I said earlier to, I think it was Linda, it's picking out those words that you recognise, and you just repeat it. If you repeat the word, then that person will realise that they're being listened to. Many years ago, there was a lady called Margaret Parry, and I've come across it probably about 3 different people in my 37 years of dementia care nursing who come up with a language all of their own. And Margaret Parry, all she would say was spoogalooks, 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 spoogalooks. That's all she said, no other word. But by her facial expression, the tone of her voice, the volume of her voice, her body language, the carers were great at working out what she was trying to say. They knew when she was hungry, she was thirsty, she wanted to go to the toilet. They knew if she wanted to have a dance. They knew if she wanted to go out in the garden. They knew if she was angry or frightened. Just with her saying spug looks. You know, and like 77% of communication's non-verbal. So it's learning to understand that way that person's communicating. Like my mum could look at me in a certain way and not say a word, and I know I've pushed me luck and I better not try any further. It was just that look. So it's the same with people. It's learning their means of communication. And touch. So many people in our homes have experienced touch hunger over COVID, where they've not been able to hold hands with another person, have that cuddle or that kiss, that skin to skin contact. So, you know, our carers and our nurses are working so hard to introduce those hugs. And it's lovely to walk down corridors and see people now going up to team members and giving them a hug. You know, that the language of friendship's just a smile. Just that smile and feeling safe. So again, it's interpreting what the person's trying to say. Like when Gladys banging, you know, Naomi communicated with her through song and the tone and the volume and pace of Gladys's banging.
If someone say, I saw a big change in mum a couple of weeks ago, and she didn't recognise who I was, but she recognised who my husband and my children were. It was quite sort of, and she didn't sort of seem really herself. We've been told now that she's on end of life care, and it's really difficult trying to sort of, I want to phone and speak to her, but I don't know if I can, because I don't know if she'll be able to answer back.
Okay. She can hear you. She can hear you, Sarah. Now, when you say she didn't recognise you, she didn't recognise you as you are now. She was probably remembering you as a little girl at that time. So it could be that you talked to her about things that you did when you were little. Standout moments, you know, those memories of you having with her. Are you able to visit her often, Sarah?
I don't get to see her as much as I want to because of the distance between us.
Okay. So still do the like FaceTimes?
Yeah, I can do a WhatsApp with her. I've been told by the home I can do WhatsApp with her through like the home's mobile. So I need to try and do that, because obviously she won't be able to hold the phone herself because she's deteriorated quite a lot in the last couple of weeks since I did last see her. So yeah, I think they would need to make sure that there's someone there that can hold the phone for her.
Yeah, or I look, I'm, you know, well, you can see how good I am at IT. IT did an update today, and then saw, of course, when I come on here and it's changed, I'm thinking, where's all that gone? Bless them, don't you like? I feel like they've done something. We have in the homes, we have tablets, iPads, and there's an interactive table, and you can ask the home if you can do like a WhatsApp via the table.
Okay.
You know, I know that we did some sort of things on it during the pandemic.
Yeah.
But you know, when I showed the pictures, there was a lady with the table.
Yes. Yeah.
It's that it tilts. So I'm sure that they can download apps, and you might be able to do that with her on that.
Okay.
Or tablets. It's a bit bigger than just a phone.
Yeah.
a bit bigger
Okay.
photo. And it might be worth as well, if you could get a picture of you when maybe you were little,
Yeah.
sort of blown up A4 size, that when you're doing your WhatsApp, it's there as well as a memory jogger.
Okay.
Yeah, anything
Yeah.
like that that might be
Okay.
a memory jogger. And it might be if you maybe wrote down some memories
Yeah.
that the team could talk to your mum about you,
Okay.
that starts building that, setting the scene
Yes.
to be talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Lovely. Thanks, Anne-Marie. Thank you.
No worries. Anyone else?
I appreciate Sarah's sadness there, because when I arrived this morning, Mum was in the day room. Oh, thank God you're here, Linda. Straight away, you know, pleased to see me. I give her a little jelly, which she always eats as soon as I get there, so she hasn't eaten all day, bless her. And then we're chatting and doing stuff and that, and she gets a cup of tea, and then she wants the toilet and that. So we go off towards the toilet, and she might say that she wants to then go onto her bed. And then she'll say to me, where's Linda? That's my name. You know, where's Linda? Where's Linda? When's Linda coming? And I find that really difficult, because she's just remembered me, and then she hasn't remembered me, and then she needs some help with the carer. She can't walk very well, even with a walker now, so the two carers will come in, and so I usually step outside the room, because she gets a little bit upset if I'm there and keeps wanting me to help. So I went to walk out of the room, and this is not 5 minutes after she said, where's Linda? And she's going, Linda, 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 come back. So her mind is not with, it's with me, it's not with me, it's with me, it's not with me. So that I understand how hard that is for Sarah.
Yeah.
What's happening, Linda, is you walked to the room with your mum, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you say you took her to the toilet?
The carers take her to the toilet. I'm not allowed to do it anymore, because it's too risky. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you take your mum to her bedroom, and as you're taking to bedroom, talking to her, you know, about your memories together, or telling her what you've been doing, or other people in the family, then if she then starts, where's Linda, she's got a bit muddled, in that because you've been helping her, in her mind she thinks you become a carer, because you're doing something for her.
Yeah.
So in that instance, it's just to say, okay, I won't be a minute and I'll be back. And then pop out of the room, wait a little while, come back in. Hello, Mum, how are you? It's me, Linda. And start over again.
Start from the beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes that helps. It's just there's sometimes that little muddle. She's so used to, when you're not there, carers helping her and walking with her and doing things for her, that she's got a bit muddled, because you've kind of become a carer to her for a bit.
Yeah.
Try it, see if it works. If it don't, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
But Anne-Marie, don't you think that sometimes, you know, my dad flips in and out over the minutes, so he doesn't think I'm a carer. I can be sitting next to him and I'll be chatting to him, and he'll be talking to me about the USA. Then he'll get angry at me for keeping him in the care home, and then 20 minutes later he's back to the USA, and then back to food, and you never know. And as you say, when we're approaching the care home, we just cross our fingers and say, hope it's a good visit today, because you never know what you're going to walk into.
No,
and sometimes he forgets that I'm arranging his flights to the US, and next time he's really angry at me because I haven't arranged his flights to the US.
I mean, and that's dementia for you. Every single person is different, even if all of us had the same diagnosis, very different. And I think for me, it's one of the beauties of dementia is that you never know what's going to happen 1 minute to the next. And I always say, don't underestimate the elderly, and certainly don't underestimate people living with dementia. And I can remember this one lady, when I used to visit an Exeter home, she used to catch me out every time, because her realities changed so very quickly. and she used to do this voice that went along with it. And she was saying to me about her husband, and her husband was working and his job. And I said, oh, what job does your husband do? And she looked at me, she said, I haven't got a husband. I'm only 9 and I'm going to Grandma's today to my birthday party and I've got a new dress. And I was like dumbstruck at, oh, okay. I said, oh, that's nice. And she stayed in this little role for a little while. And I said to her, did you get a nice dolly for your birthday? And she said, what do you mean a dolly? What do I want a dolly for? I'm not 10. And I was thinking, oh, crikey, you know. And she used to catch me out every time. And I can remember this one, another time she caught me out. She came out with a toy rabbit. And she was really, really, really distressed. And I said, oh, what's the matter? And she was cradling this toy rabbit. And I said, what's the matter? She said, it's so sick. It won't keep milk down. I've tried water. It just won't keep anything down. I said, maybe it's cold. I said, should we wrap it up? She said, oh, that'd be a good idea. So I got a blanket and wrapped this rabbit up like you would a baby. And she went, oh, thank you for that. And off she went. A while back, she came back again and she said, it's no good. It's no good. It still won't keep anything down. So I thought, oh, I know what to do. If I take her to the clinic room, I can get the thermometer out and the stethoscope, and it'd be like, you know, the examination. So I said to her, well, I tell you what, come with me and we'll take it to the doctors. She said, what do you mean doctors? I can't take it to the doctors. I've got to take it to the vets. It's a rabbit. And I thought, God, in my mind, I thought she thought it was a baby, you know. So it is about really just trying to go with the flow and trying to work out what the person's trying to say to you. We don't always get it right. We don't always get it right and we get told off. But we could try it again next time.
I have to leave you, folks. Thank you very much.
It was lovely to meet
something from listening.
Lovely, John, and hope to see you next time.
The only thing is, my dear wife is at an even more advanced stage than anybody who's been talking. I mean, we've got to the point now where she sleeps most of the time. She's with us, and then she just fall asleep, and you know we'll stay that way, and very often until we leave. So it sort of becomes even more difficult too. She's got all her pictures. She's a great grandmother now. Everything around the wall, but you just can't get her to even look at them. I mean, it's getting to that point where I'm afraid she's not really connecting with the world at all, and we've just got to live through that. Occasionally, she'll come out with something that you'll say. Something about I went to see your other son today in Nicholas, and she'll simply say, did you? And that will be the only words we might hear for about a week.
Yeah.
Oh, John, is your wife in one of the Excel homes?
Sorry?
Is your wife in one of the Excel homes?
Yeah, she's in the St. George's Court in Cambridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, John.
Which is a beautiful home. They really look after her well. There's no doubt about that. I mean, she's peaceful, and we just take some comfort in the fact that she is peaceful. She's not in pain, but that's about all we can take comfort in at the moment. So I haven't gained a lot. I mean, I went through this sort of session about 5 years ago, and here it is. We're still here. You know, coming around to it again and again and again and again. Anyway, I must go. I've got another appointment. Thank you all.
All right, John. No worries. We'll catch up soon.
Hope to see you soon. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Take care, John. Bye-bye. Has anyone else got any questions or anything they'd like to share?
Memory box. I've actually done one for my husband at home. but I can't take it into the care home because everything goes missing and gets lost. People come into his room and take things, or he might take things out, and I could probably just take it in with me when I visit and then take it away again and
You
use
can
it as a
do,
point of
or
discussion.
what we do is, I mean, obviously not put anything valuable into it.
No.
But what the girls do is obviously things that go in the box are labelled who they belong to, and inside the lid a list of all the things that are in it.
Oh, right.
And often what they do is they keep the box and either on top of the wardrobe or in the
Good
wardrobe
idea.
at the top.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, put it on the
Yeah,
wardrobe.
you might want to do, Lorraine, you might want to do one for you to use and then something a bit different in the home.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because I've got things in my memory box, like my silver buckle my mum and dad got me for when I qualified as a nurse. Well, I wouldn't want that with me in the care home, and that went missing. Do you know what I mean? But what could do is take a photograph of it and then print it, laminate it, and that goes in.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good idea.
Anyone else?
A lot to think about.
It is. There's a lot to think about. I must catch up with John, because there's lots that we can do with people who are living in the late stage of dementia. Things like soothing touch, hand massage, music therapy, doll therapy. They're all things that we can use to help somebody feel comfort in the late stages of dementia. And we're working more on the senses, the smell and taste. And there's a therapy and a model of care called Namaste care, which is for people in the late stages of dementia. So maybe that's for another webinar to do.
Yeah, I've found that the last few weeks, I mean, getting the news about Mum was quite a shock, and I agree with John as some of the things that, you know, that he was talking about. I'm experiencing that already, because Mum's gone from being probably moderate to now extremely advanced, where they've had the hospice in and things like that. So it's just sort of, you know, that sort of waiting game. And yes, you might get the odd word out of her when you go, and you know, which is why as a family we all went last week, because I wouldn't want the children to have to go again and see her in an even not even looking like their nan anymore, if you know what I mean. Because I saw that big shock in 3 weeks where she'd lost so much weight because she's not eating really, she's not really drinking, and that just sudden, from 3 weeks when I'd seen her prior to that to when I saw her last weekend, was just like, whoa, you know, that just going from one person that looked like my mum to someone who doesn't even look like her at all in that short space of time. So yeah, I can see where John's coming from with all of that.
Yeah, and particularly hard for you being you're so far away.
Yes. Yeah.
Is your mum at Longfield?
Yes, she is. Yeah.
I remember you saying. Yeah.
So
Lynn, can you hear me, Lynn? Is it Lynn who's just been talking to you, Anne-Marie?
Sarah,
sorry, Sarah.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, sorry, Sarah. My name's David, and I can absolutely get what you're saying, because when my Auntie Vi was in a home, I took my mum up to see her one weekend.
Yeah.
And they brought her out, and I didn't recognise her.
No.
That's not my Auntie Vi. No, and they started talking to Auntie Vi. I thought, that's not my Auntie Vi. You got the wrong person. And it really takes the wind out of your sails.
Oh, definitely.
Because she was so different.
Yeah.
Didn't recognise her, Sarah. And it blew me sideways. I was in denial.
Yeah. See, I took some pictures and sent one to my brother, because he's even further away than we are, and he'd only seen my mum at the same sort of time as me. And I sent him one through, and I'm like, are you sure you really want me to send this? Because you're going to have such a shock. He's like, no, send it to me. And then I spoke to him a little while later, and he's like, that's not mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Mm.
You know, so that's why I sort of decided then that I was sort of gonna say my goodbyes then, but still try and do the WhatsApp with her, so that it's not so much face to face. And if I get upset, then you know I don't really want to upset mum at the same time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
But on the way back, Sarah, we got to Duxford Airdrome, and I had to pull over because I was upset and couldn't believe what I just experienced.
Yeah. I think the children sort of found it hard because they hadn't seen mum for a little while, and for them it's like, whoa, that, you know, though she sounded like Nan, she facially, like, you know, just definitely didn't look like her at all. Definitely.
No.
Definitely not.
Sarah, it's been lovely talking to you.
And you, very nice to meet you, David. Very nice to meet you.
You too, sweetheart. God bless you.
God bless.
Anyone else?
No, thank you.
You're okay, Linda?
Yes, thank you. I've made some notes of what you've been saying, and I'm just trying to think about how I approach this with my 3 siblings, my brothers.
Okay.
They find it so, one of them hardly says a word when he goes. The other one does all the talking, and he's sort of in the background. So how I get him off that and into some of these, I'll just have to think about a good plan, I think.
Yeah.
If I can help in any way, Linda, you know you can contact me anytime.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm around. I'm going on leave the last 2 weeks in June.
Okay.
But apart from that, I'm around.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No worries.
Thanks, everyone. Nice to see everyone.
You too.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take
Bye.
care, Sarah. Bye.
Bye.